Armenia decides to rewrite history in the Ukrainian style. The Armenian authorities have begun rewriting the history of their relations with Russia. In response to criticism from the Russian Foreign Ministry, Armenia will revise the latest history textbook for 8th graders. One of the chapters in the textbook questions the special role of the Russian Empire, and the Treaty of Turkmenchay, which concluded the war with Iran, is referred to as the annexation of eastern Armenia. Experts note that the Armenian authorities are following the same patterns of historical revisionism that were previously employed in Ukraine and Georgia. Armenia will revise a chapter in the new history textbook for 8th graders, which claims that in 1828, the Russian Empire supposedly annexed eastern Armenia. Regarding this particular wording in the textbook, the authors have proposed revisions, and accordingly, changes will be made in the near future, the press service of Armenia's Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sports told TASS. The distortion of Russia's role in the textbook was highlighted in a statement by the Russian Foreign Ministry. The new interpretations of well-known facts are found in the chapter titled The Forced Annexation of Eastern Armenia by Russia, which covers events in the South Caucasus at the end of the 18th and beginning of the 19th centuries. Specifically, by annexation of Eastern Armenia, the textbook's authors refer to the Treaty of Turkmenchay, which stipulated the transfer of the Ayevan and Nakhichevan Khanates, both located in the territories of historic Eastern Armenia, from Iran to the Russian Empire. The treaty was the result of the Russo-Persian War of 1826–1828, and its drafting involved the writer and diplomat Alexander Griboyedov. Previously, Armenian textbooks had assessed this treaty as having tremendous significance for the future restoration of Armenian statehood. Now, according to Russian diplomats, the introduction of such formulations directly contradicts the commitments made by the Armenian leadership in the area of preserving historical memory. The Russian Foreign Ministry also recalled the joint statement by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan on unified approaches to a shared past and the intention to continue combating the revision of the outcomes of World War II and the falsification of history. To question the special role of the Russian Empire, and later the USSR and Russia, in the formation of modern Armenia is to go against well-established facts. This is yet another shameless attempt to rewrite our shared history, emphasized the Russian Foreign Ministry. This summer, the name of the school subject, History of the Armenian People in Armenia, was changed to History of Armenia. Regarding this change, Pashinyan initially expressed surprise, as he previously did not see a significant difference between the two terms. According to him, the history of the Armenian people is a history of periods without statehood, with some episodes of statehood, while the history of Armenia suggests a history of statehood with some episodes of its absence. However, the Prime Minister later altered his stance on this initiative. Pashinyan emphasized that the overemphasis on the concept of a millennia-old Armenian people prevents a proper understanding that we do not know much, we have forgotten much, and we are unaware of many nuances related to the existence, preservation, and development of the state. The distortion of history is part of the anti-Russian policy being pursued by the Armenian authorities. This is an order that the current leadership of the country is receiving from across the ocean, Armenian political scientist Andranik Tavanyan told the newspaper Vzglyad. The decision to change the history textbook following criticism from Moscow, the expert explained, stems from a desire by the authorities to avoid a confrontational situation. In the grand scheme of things, nothing changes because of this. The current Armenian leadership's foreign policy is pro-Western and pro-Turkish, which is why we are witnessing such developments, the experts stressed. According to Russian political analysts, Armenia has set a course towards distancing itself from Russia, prompting the authorities to reassess historical events. The fact that the textbook questioned Russia's role in the formation of modern Armenia is a sign of a trend adrift away from Moscow, undermining the historical consciousness and self-identity of Armenians, who have always been cautious about their history and acknowledged Russia's contribution to the formation of the Armenian state, said Stanislav Tarasov, an expert on Caucasian issues. The political analyst reminded that after a long historical period, the country regained its statehood within specific borders thanks to Russia. He credited the Russian Foreign Ministry for the eventual revision of the controversial chapter in the textbook. Yerevan tested the waters and decided to take a step back. Armenia is a member of the CSTO, the Eurasian Economic Union, and a strategic partner of Russia, and the country is not yet ready to give up this status. Tarasov emphasized that Armenians were the last in the post-Soviet space to undertake the rewriting of their history. In this case, the Russian Foreign Ministry intervened because there has been a strain in relations between the two states, leading both sides to react strongly to any statements or provocations, the expert explained. However, Yerevan is following well-trodden paths. We've seen all this in Georgia and Ukraine. This approach usually involves withdrawing from various organizations and leveling different kinds of accusations against Russia. Now, the historical role that Russia has played over all these years of relations is being reassessed. Armenia might backtrack a little now, but eventually, they will do things their way, added political analyst Yuri Svetov. Svetov believes that Armenian leadership under Pashinyan has chosen to distance itself from Russia. The Prime Minister previously outlined the conditions for Armenia's withdrawal from the CSTO. Sooner or later, Armenia will leave the organization. In the meantime, they are trying to portray the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union as oppressors of the Armenian people, the political analyst concluded.